Hi, I'm Christine Patton. I'm a creative director with Ideas Collide.
I'm Kendra Dingley. I'm the graphic designer for Ideas Collide.
And we are the duo who worked on the Icy Streaming trailer. And what is so funny about this is we worked on this a year ago and a bit over a year ago, and the idea was to create a place to hold podcasts and create content and have, as we say, conversations around a table. And here the two of us are actually doing it today. It's a real pleasure.
It's very exciting for sure. It was a labor of love, and it's really great to see it come together the way it has.
You know, beyond finding the trailer in the field in Indiana, kind of how the project came about. And yeah, and I know that it's something Matt had thought about for a while before kind of actually starting to make it happen. And I remember the day very clearly. It was before the holidays. It might have been in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it was the year before last. And they had me come over and meet them for a meeting at the Pemberton, and it was a gorgeous day, and we sat outside and talked, and then they said they had this project, and do you want to do it? And started telling me about the trailer, and that they had this vision for parking it here at the Pemberton and having it become a content creation and podcast studio. And, you know, obviously the answer was a resounding yes. And when do we start? And very quickly, we had a big agency meeting around maybe just after the holidays or before the holidays, and we needed to have the concept, and that came very quickly. And then, yeah, we rolled up our sleeves and really got into it. In terms of the design process with the vision for the whole thing, knew we wanted it to marry mid-century design and kind of 1970s California. And Ideas Collide is a great color palette to start with. It's got a wonderful navy blue and a great kind of orangey red, so wanted to start with that and expand on it. And very quickly this idea of kind of the 70s stripe came into play as being a feature and helping to build out the palette. And so we had that in place, and then you started, and we got right into typography. Oh, and we also knew we wanted a microphone. This is all about conversations around a table. So I had found in microphone research a particular retro microphone that I was obsessed with. And you started, and it was like, okay, here, you know, let's start pulling all of this together. And you just did such beautiful work on,
Thank you.
Yeah, making so many versions of the logo, but they all, I remember, was such a joy to look at all of the concepts that you fleshed out with the microphone and it doing different things and the typography. So talk about that.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, the microphone, yeah, obviously has like a pretty big connection with what we do down here, and it makes for a great centerpiece for the badge designs that we created, which was fun. We knew that we wanted a badge sort of emblem, so that, you know, it just lends itself really well to be put on a lot of different, or used in a lot of different ways. And going into the typography, I knew that I wanted to find something that had the a little bit retro aesthetic, but without it being overly like groovy or something.
Right, exactly. That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, it's a fine line. So
yeah, we didn't want it to be kitschy. Not
wanted
kitschy.
it to look clean, and I even looking at Servo New, which is Ideas Collide main font, that has a lot of verticals, the vertical letters, tall letters.
Nice thin lines, yeah.
Yeah, and a good consistency within the letter forms too. So when I found Brotherline, which is the font we was our base font for Ideas Collide Streaming, it just felt very right to me, and like I started using it within a lot of the concepts, and I think we all felt a connection with it.
We totally did. We all gravitated to that one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It just felt really sophisticated, but still had that creative extension from our standard brand, Ideas Collide brand.
You know, it had that. You found the perfect typeface, because it was that it's a script, but it's very upright, like our Servo knew, and it's got those thin lines, so it has those kind of throwback feel to it, but also very of Ideas Collide and very now.
Yeah,
I would say.
totally, and it was really fun to work with, and there's a lot of characters that are an extension of it, with flourishes and things like that could really flex the capabilities of that font. Yeah, and going through those ideations, it was really hard for us to like really narrow down the exact ones that we wanted.
There were so many we liked.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, there were, and it was really fun. It was really fun to work on, and even going into the trailer wrap and some of the swag and gear that we created and the print pieces that went into the project, it allowed for us to think outside the box a bit too, and how we approach some of these things, and the stickers, and just all those little bits and pieces that we worked on that came together. It's just it was really a great way to highlight the work that we have done here, and also highlight a lot of the aesthetic that went into this trailer and all the hard work done by Silver Travelers to put it together, and with Nicole Eberhardt working on as our interior designer, working with you, Christine, and making these decisions.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to kind of get back to the after kind of having a concept and everything, we this trailer on the exterior was pretty beat up, and the interior was also kind of a nightmare. And we worked with an organization or a company here in Phoenix called Silver Travelers. They're experts in refurbishing retro trailers. That's what they do. And we weren't coming at this from a standpoint where for the trailer, no CAD drawings existed.
Yeah,
there were no architectural drawings, no CAD drawings, nothing, no measurements, zero of this trailer. And I still have my notebook. We could even show it on screen at some point, but of all the measurements that I would go down to their shop, go out into the parking lot with super long tape measures and try to, measure this thing to start to, so we could start to mock up the outside, and then we could start to figure out what the build out was going to be inside. And then Kendra was on board, and Kendra worked really hard on the wrap. And that, this trailer is full of curved lines. It's not like it's a box. So there are tricky things about, if you'll measure a curve when you're sitting there outside and you're looking at that curve, you've got to think about what the eye level is, and not just, what the height of that curve is, like how it wraps and so she did just a ton of work on perfecting these drawings and, and sizing and laying out and getting everything prepped for our friends at the signage company.
Yeah. Totally. And I had to retake some measurements a few times.
Oh, gosh, yes.
It was really hard to feel confident in some of those, those measurements. And then you get back to the computer and you're like, oh, man, is that right? I'm not sure. And at one point, I just had to bring my laptop down here or down to the shop to work and measure.
Silver Travelers also did a lot of work for us on the inside. I mean, everything needed to be taken out and, floor redone, stuff refinished. And we worked with them on, we were really thinking about how the trailer was going to be used and how to plan out the space. So we have this one side where we're sitting right now, which is where the podcasts are. And, we have a round table, very much by design. It's conversations around a table, right? So we knew we wanted a banquette that wrapped around. And so they built this in for us. And then we needed some storage. And then kind of in the mid part of the trailer, there's a great kind of workspace. And Alexis, who is filming this right now, is actually sitting there using the space as intended. And then at the very front, we have some lounge chairs.
Oh, those chairs, they're amazing.
Yeah, those chairs are amazing.
We're definitely fans of the chairs.
So we kind of started with those cabinetry elements and making some of the first design choices. And I remember going down, I'm going to talk about my favorite thing in a second, but I remember going down to the, did I go to Home Depot or Lowe's? It was one of the two. And going to the paint area. And what's funny is your first instincts are usually always right. So you kind of grabbed what I thought was going to work for interior colors and then overthought it and got a ton of other shades that were similar, brought them back. Remember, had them all on the conference room table.
Absolutely.
But we decided to do. Really didn't want this to be like a stark white kind of a thing. Well, that wouldn't have fit with our aesthetic. So you do need some white to break things up. But the cabinetry is this like great blue that. Is kind of one of our core colors. It's like a nice dark blue that grounds everything. And then I knew I wanted to do something interesting on the ceiling. So the front part is kind of a sky teal blue, I would call it. It's nice and soft. And then on this side, we have more of a like a deeper teal kind of a color. And I'll just talk a minute about this section. So we've got this banquette and wanted to make it a wonderful focal point. And walnut is such like a core design element of mid-century. I love walnut. And so to highlight the curve of this, I just started thinking about these walnut slats. And it kind of goes back to mid-century furniture. My husband works on mid-century furniture, and there are lots of, where you pull apart some doors and there are these slats that, there's a name for them, and he's going to kill me because I can't remember them. I can't remember the term, but I just wanted to pull that in. And I remember drawing this up and explaining the idea to him, and he thankfully kind of got me out of trouble with how the lines were going to line up around the windows. So, but it looks great. So he's an architect, so thanks to him for...
Absolutely, and it totally, it really does... it really does like highlight the curve.
Yeah.
And and they're not on right now, but we even have the backlighting on them, and when it's on, it just especially when you're down here in the evening, it really adds to the to the vibes in here, and it gives it that just that takes it to another level that I don't think you're initially expecting.
Yes.
And it's just really cool.
Yeah, the backlighting behind those. I don't know whose idea it was. It may have been Cole's from Silver Travelers. I'm not sure, or you kind of can't remember when you end up in these conversations who the light bulb flashed on first, but they really they were excited about that idea and embraced it and really took extra time to figure out how to make that work.
No, totally. They're a great team to work with.
They're so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And even going back to some of the experience that you had in previous parts of your career with working and doing work for restaurants industry and stuff,
yes.
that some of those learnings from that time in your life even came into play with and even our own some of your talents and interests outside of work with sewing and putting
You're so nice.
It really is. It's great. The little pom poms on the curtains and these little touches just add a lot of flair, and also are functional for the use of this trailer and wanting to see it be a long term. Something that's around long term and not just slapped together.
And after we launched the whole Ideas Collide trailer and we were done with the design, I went home to help my parents start cleaning out. They still have a number of my sister toys that belong to my sister and me in the basement, and there's a lot of Barbies. And so my sister and I started cataloging everything and going through everything in a very particular way. And one of my favorite toys was this Barbie Winnebago. And I looked at it and I was like, that's where the stripes come from. I mean, these,
came full circle.
Design moments that you love throughout your life embed themselves and lodge themselves in your brain, and then they just come out, in unexpected ways, and I had not even thought of that. And
it's like a confirmation in a way when you have things come up in your life and you're like, oh wow, this really does touch a part of your DNA in a way. That was a part of your childhood that you loved and was kind of stored in the attic of your mind, basically. It was
stored in the attic of your mind. And yeah, I'm a 70s kid, so it's been clanging around up there in the old brain for a number of years. We won't count how many, but yeah, a number of years.
Yeah. I feel like it's a very nostalgic thing to refurbish a trailer and just all the little cool touches that we could infuse into the project.
I know.
It was a lot of fun.
And it fit very much with Ideas Collide. Being in a world now where so much is digital and so much of your life takes place online, and people for a number of years, and COVID probably accelerated it, are really, really drawn to things that are from before that era that feel really real and not, mass produced. And I think you see it in a lot of ways. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like in Phoenix in general too, with the mid-century rise that happened here, and there's so much of that infused into the culture of Phoenix that I think is just really fun and cool to explore that further. When I first started with the company, this being my first project to work on, I was so excited, at the idea of
well, I was excited that you started. You came at the perfect time.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I was what a perfect project to work on, when you first started a job, and I felt really blessed to be a part of something that was going to stick around as an icon of the agency,
Yes.
and was going to be this place for connection and collaboration and ideation, and bringing our community like together here, and having this like whole satellite location on Roosevelt Row is just really like fun to even brag about to my friends and family. Like, oh, look at this cool thing that we're doing, and you don't hear about that, like stuff like this happening.
Not every day, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely hadn't before, and it really is a great like statement piece for the agency and what we're about.
I feel like this is the year that it all comes together. 2023 is really the year that all of these building blocks that we put in place over the last year and a half really, start to take off.
Totally.
And, I remember for we made this brochure, and when we started on it, I was writing some copy when I was on a plane, and for some reason I can always concentrate more on a plane, or when I lived on the East Coast on the Amtrak. Maybe you get in the zone. And there were a couple of things I love in this. A mighty small studio where ideas collide, content is created, and stories are streamed. Kind of really says it all. So
It does.
we really want to work with the community and our clients and create beautiful things and thoughtful podcasts. People are so great at creating their own content now, but there's also, there are times, and a lot of times, when you need the firepower of a bigger team and some great equipment and and a wonderful space, and our agency offers all of that.
The sky is the limit.
The sky
really.
is the limit.
It could, it could be anything from like a tiny desk type of vibe, little concert series, to actually really thoughtful conversations for the community, or even just to highlight your business or what you're doing in the world, and in your vision for the world, and bringing that to having that come together in a space like this, I feel is really natural. And I think there's just a lot of opportunity for everybody. A lot of creativity is thriving here.
Well, thanks for joining us today for the podcast. This was so fun to sit with you and reminisce. We're so busy all the time, and working on this project, we were so busy. And then to sit back and just enjoy talking about it again and be in the space is so fun.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. And I would say that if anybody is interested in learning more about what we do down here, check out our website. We'll link it to this video. And
yes, and it's, in case you're listening, it's ideascollide.com/streaming.
Yes.
Yeah,
and you'll know you made it if you see the beautiful stripe going down the page.
Yeah, we'll be redesigning that page soon too, but it'll always have the stripe.
Yes, it will. So in some way, shape, or form.
And the URL certainly won't change. So yes, and we'll keep it in the link below.